Hi guys, so this video here is taken from a full course on building a track from scratch in Logic. You'll be able to watch all of the Logic related videos for the course on YouTube. There will be a link to the playlist below for you. But in this course, we're basically building this whole track from scratch. If you want to follow along with that, you can. And if you want to download the project file and all the samples that go with the course, there's a link to that in the description as well. I hope this video is useful to you and that you're able to follow along with the course. Let's jump into it.
Feeling heavy, but now I'm steady, going up from hitting the ground.
Okay, so something I think this will benefit from, especially in this section just here, is if we give a bit of a stereo effect to that Reese, but I don't want to affect this actual track itself, and instead I'm going to send it to an aux and give it some effects that way. We're going to have a little play around with some ideas, probably use a chorus. We need to make sure we take all the mids out of it as well, so I'll show you a way we can do that. But what we're going to do here, we're going to give it another bus. We're going to go into buses, and I've been scattering these about. We'll just stick this one on 5. What I'm just going to do is call it wide bass like that, just so I know roughly what it is and what it's going to be doing. I'll send the full signal to it. And on here, we want to go into our effects, and we are going to look for the stereo spread plugin and try that out. I'm just going to solo it. We want to hear just what the effect's doing. So it's really the uppers and mids we want to kind of spread out a bit. So bring the bass in as well. Still got lots of weight, that's mainly on the sides. Okay, that gives it a bit of a spread, that's not too bad. Now let's pop an EQ on. What we're going to do here is we're going to change this EQ from stereo processing to mid only like this. And I'm going to do a really steep slope. I'm going to take away all the mid like that. So we should just be left with the sides now. Now when we bring our other bass in, or the original bass that's making this in as well, that should fill up that middle space. Right, so now we've got all those extra sides, we mute it, super central, that makes it feel nice and spread out. Something else we can try with it is using a chorus. That's going to be in modulation. I want the mix to be on 100 since it's on an auxiliary, and then we're literally just going to change the rate and intensity. I'll just put it in before the EQ, so we're still filtering away the mids and just leaving the sides alone. So now we've just got these sides, so it's different in the left and the right. Now the big thing, summing all this into the stereo, we just put the gain plugin on the stereo out, just switch it into mono real quick. We just want to make sure our bass doesn't disappear. And it's still fine in mono. So now I've got this big wide spread bass here. And that's going to be way more interesting, especially in this section here. That's way too intense at the minute, so we're going to dial this down. I think probably minus 6 dB is going to be about the right bet for that. Take it away. Bring it back. Go a little bit higher, probably go to 3. Now it might not work in here, so we might have to automate it to fade away, but we'll try it out. Now that works really, really nice. Right, something I was thinking about doing with the strings was using a bit of a cheat tape effect. Now I've got the strings EQ just here, and they're all on a bundle, all on an aux together. So let's just loop around where we've got all the strings together. There's a way we can kind of abuse the tape delay plugin. So if we open up our tools, go to delay and grab tape delay, we've got the modulation of like the wow and flutter aspect at the bottom. So we can actually like turn the delay itself, I'm going to turn the feedback off, I'm going to turn wet all the way up to 100%. And now we've got like our clipping threshold, our spread, and our modulation at the bottom. I'm just going to give it a little bit of, ideally like not quite a sample feel, but something that makes it not so uniform. And for the tape head mode, we'll go for diffuse. We can bring the low cut up to around 200. It's not going to be in the way of the snare. And LFO. I'm just going to dial some really subtle settings in there. And then for it to work, we need to apply feedback. Now feedback needs to be really, really subtle here. Hopefully you can hear that. It's kind of giving like almost like a ripping rise going through the strings. If I put it up to 100, it will be really extreme. What we're doing is basically mixing this really extreme kind of effect really subtly into the strings here. Okay, so now you've heard it. Let me dial it back down to 23, I think we were at, and you can still hear it. It's still in there and rising up, but it's just hidden among the strings. I'm just going to play it in context just to see if it's worth it. I like it, giving that like rise and fall feel. It stands out loads for me. I can really hear it and I really like what it's doing. It's just giving like a really slow ebb and flow amongst that string section. So we need to just check that it's going to work amongst the whole lot of the strings and throughout the whole track here, because they go on for longer than just that section. All of the strings themselves have got fat effects on by default. I'm just going to have a play around with the like staccato element there. I just think we can distort them just a little bit more than is currently already going on. Okay, so what we've done, added a little bit of grit, added a little bit of soft saturation, taken the amount down a fair bit, and really reduced the release time a lot on the compressor as well, because they're quite short sounds. That was making quite a big difference actually when I dialed it back. It was just really affecting the attack rather than causing it to pump on that vintage VCA there. All right, I've got a couple of ideas of things we can play around with the vocals, so let's dive into that.